Hello and welcome to another episode of AWS Cloud Bytes. I'm your host Bhavesh Kumar, and today we are going to talk about how we are going to load data into a Redshift cluster. This particular lab will be focused on loading data from S3 bucket as a source, as well as from a DynamoDB into a Redshift cluster. So without waiting further, we are going to jump into the lab. I have logged into my AWS console, and you can see that I have the home screen here. Before we start, we need the CLI or the API access to AWS, for which I'm going to go to the cloud user, security credentials, and I will scroll down and create an access key. We'll need an access key for CLI interaction. So I'm going to create that, confirm it, and create over here. I will do that offline. I will pause the video and come back after setting up my AWS configuration. Okay, I downloaded the credential file and have set up the AWS configuration. So I have a config file as well as the credentials file. Config file has US East 1 set up as region, and then the credential file has the access key and the secret. I have this terminal open, and what we are going to do first is going to create a bucket. So we are going to simulate that there is a CSV file in the bucket, and we're going to consume that bucket file, the Redshift data file, and use that file to populate the Redshift cluster. So AWS S3 make bucket, and I will give a name. So I will say Redshift import bucket, and this is 2023 11/05 today. The bucket is created. Currently I don't have any bucket. If I refresh, you can see the new bucket that we created is available here. Now I have cleaned my console again. What we are going to do is we're going to upload a file. I have this file on my desktop, so I will go to desktop. Now we are on desktop. You can see two files. Redshift.csv, redshift.json. We are going to use the S3 API to upload these files on S3 bucket, the bucket that we created. So this is AWS S3 API put object bucket, and the bucket name, let's look at the bucket name, Redshift import 2023 11/05, and the key is redshift.csv, body is redshift.csv. So you can see that the file is uploaded. We can look into this bucket, and you can see there is a Redshift CSV file. We cannot look at it. We'll have to download that file. So once this file is uploaded, now we're going to look into our DynamoDB side of the data source. In order to look at DynamoDB, we can say list table. Sorry, it should be list tables. And you can see there is no table right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a table to import all the data. I already have this script from the CLI. It says AWS DynamoDB create -table, table name, Redshift import. That's going to be the table name, and the attribute name is ID, attribute type is numeric. The key schema is attribute name is ID, key type is hash. The provision output that we have is the RCUs, which is 5 read capacity unit, and WCU, which is write capacity, as 5. Let's create the table. You can see the table is now created, and we can look at the table. You can see there is one table, Redshift import. Now we're going to import data into this table using our JSON file. Before that, I will show you how this table is. So this is the JSON file. This is the CSV file that we uploaded. in the S3 bucket. And this is the JSON file, Redshift import. This is the data in JSON file. We are going to import this data in this DynamoDB table that we just created. In order to write to this table, we are going to now write a CLI command. All this CLI command can be done manually also. You could create an S3 bucket using the console. I'm just going to use the batch write operation from DynamoDB CLI. Batch write item and then request item. Now this is basically the file that we have, and I have it as Redshift JSON in my current directory. So I'm gonna look at the command once more. AWS DynamoDB batch write item, request items. Oh, there is some duplication in my file. So number 0, 1, 2, 3, and 3 again. I should fix it. This is an identifier, should not be duplicate. So let me try this. Okay, so whatever file, there were like 4 records in the file, and 5 records, I guess. It was able to process all. If it is not able to process all, it will show you as unprocessed. But now we can look at the DynamoDB. We can use scan to see what all data we have in our DynamoDB Redshift import table. And you can see all this data, all these items are there. So this is number 3, number 2, and then you have number 4, number 1, and 0. So it's, my name was at number 0, the ID number 0. Now we're going to create an IAM role. Switching back to the console, search for IAM, open it into a new window, and then go to the roles, create a new role, and I'll just select EC2. We need S3 bucket access. So we are going to take S3 read-only access and DynamoDB read-only access. We don't need to give both, but because we are doing a demo for both the sources, that's why we are putting, I'm just going to give this name as Redshift import to the role. Yeah, I'll create a role first. Then I'm gonna modify this role. Trust relationship. I'll edit this rather than Redshift, rather than EC2. We need Redshift here. So we have the service as Redshift in this, and then you have 2 policies in this role. DynamoDB read-only, S3 read-only access. Now we're going to open Redshift. In a separate window, I opened Redshift. Let's go to the Redshift cluster. This is US East 2. Let me go to US East 1. So I opened the Redshift cluster from the service here in a new tab. We have 1 cluster. So let's look at the cluster. From the actions, let's go to manage IAM role. And then I'm gonna use the Redshift import and associate that new role that we created, perform save changes. Let's go to the terminal. I will do AWS Redshift, describe clusters. So we have one cluster, and the thing that we need is this endpoint. I'll just copy this information and keep it for reference. And I will do export pg host. I'll just reference this Redshift endpoint. Just set up as a export variable. I will look at the AWS IAM list and roles. Sorry, dash roles. This is going to take too much time. Let me go to the roles over here, and I need the ARN of this one. I'll just copy and keep the ARN of Redshift import. Okay, I think we are good. Let me clear the screen. We just have one bucket, AWS S3 LS. This is the name of the bucket. We just created and uploaded the CSV file over there. Now we can also check that our PG host is set. Now we'll connect to the Redshift cluster. We'll use pSQL, and the user is master user. Port that we were having as the endpoint port was 5439, and then I'll just give a name like import test. Okay guys, thank you for waiting. I have to pause the video. I was not having pSQL installed on this when I executed this command to connect to the Redshift cluster. Unfortunately, there was no pSQL, so I ended up installing pSQL using brew. And now I can see by running this command pSQL version that pSQL 16.0 is installed. Now I'm gonna run the same command again. pSQL username is master user, port 5439, import test, and it is asking for a password. Let me input a password. So we are in. Now you can see that I am connected. I am going to create a table. Let me copy a command that I have. Create table, users import, ID integer, name varchar, department varchar, expense code integer. Table is created. Now I'm going to give my other command. We'll copy users underscore import from the S3 bucket. I'll put it in quotes. S3 colon, the bucket name was, what is the bucket name? It's Redshift import 2023 1105. IAM role is the IAM role that we copied. So the ARN of IAM role I'm gonna paste over here. The IAM role that we created was Redshift import. So paste it. You can see role / Redshift import, and I'll just give a read ratio of 50. Oh, so I forgot to give the CSV file name. Over here, we are on S3 bucket, but then which file? .csv. Looks okay now. Oh, sorry. This is a CSV file we are trying to import. So over here, I will just say delimiter because it's a CSV file that we want to delimit. Okay, it should take it as a comma separated file and import it. Too many issues. Let me correct the name over here. It is redshift.csv. Finally, the file is uploaded now. We can run a select command. It's users underscore import select star from users. Okay, I guess I was missing a semicolon. So when I did a select star from users import, it was able to show it. The initial command then that we fired, this one, at that point of time it was still importing and the file was not available. The subsequent one I forgot to add a semicolon. So adding a semicolon should have worked. I don't know what happened over here. It should have been fine, but it gave me a syntax error over here. Finally, I ran the same thing over here. Select star from users underscore import, and it showed me all the results. I also went, so what I did was I went to the query editor and created a new connection like this. This window comes up. So create a new connection, and I chose the cluster and I gave the database name, which was import data, import test, I guess. Yeah. And then the username was master user. I clicked connect. So it opened a new connection for me. When you are connected, basically it will show you all the schemas. We are in public schema. This is the table name that was created. And what I did was I just said select star from user import. If you run this, you'll have the same result. Now what we are going to do is we are going to truncate this table because we want to create another set of data which has exactly same content. So I am gonna truncate the users import table, and you can run this again. You'll find that it's empty, so there is no data. I can run it again, and you can again confirm from here. Zero rows. Now we are going to import using DynamoDB JSON, and I'll just say copy users underscore input from, now this is DynamoDB, and Redshift import. That was the table name. Let me double check. Going to open that. Redshift import. So this table doesn't have any data right now. You can explore table items. Oh, we imported the JSON file. Yes, the data is here. From here, we're going to import into Redshift. So Redshift-import, and we're going to use the same IAM role that we were using. Let me copy the IAM role over here. That's IAM role, and because it is a DynamoDB table, we are going to give a read ratio. So it is reading from DynamoDB table, and it's gonna import that information in Redshift. Oh, I made a mistake. So I accidentally clicked on quote. Now let's look at it if it was able to, I don't know if the command executed properly. Let me see over here, it's not showing me anything. Okay, there's no data in that. So what happened to this command? Copy users import from DynamoDB. Again, the same issue. It's Redshift. Redshift import IAM role. Redshift import is IAM role read ratio. I need to click over here. This command prompt automatically takes it. So let me remove everything. Copy users. This looks okay. Copy users import from DynamoDB. Codes IAM role. Then you have another codes. This looks fine to me. Okay, finally it loaded, and let's look at the select start from user, and you can see 5 records here. And if I run a query over here, it shows 5 again. So that's all in this video. This was all about loading data from 2 sources, S3 and DynamoDB. We loaded a CSV file, a comma separated file, which is this file that you're looking at. 5 records were uploaded. The CSV file was available in S3 bucket, and we used S3 bucket as a source to load this data into Redshift. And in the second example, we first cleaned out the Redshift table because the identifier that we are using over here is exactly same in the Redshift. We first loaded data into the table called Redshift import. That's a DynamoDB table that we created. And we are just simulating that if there is data in DynamoDB, how are you going to import that data in Redshift? So given this data in DynamoDB, which is over here, we use this as a source and recreated the same flow where we were able to load the data from DynamoDB using an IAM role Redshift import into a table, a Redshift table users import. That's all for this particular video. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and press the notification bell icon for future updates. This is your host, Pavish Kumar, signing off. Thank you.